I still remember the taste of the cake we chose. Vanilla almond, with gold flakes on top. We argued about that cake for hours. He said it was too fancy, I said it was perfect. Funny how you can plan every detail of a wedding, except the part where the groom disappears. His name was Evan. He wasn't the kind of man you forget. Tall, quiet, with eyes that looked like they were always trying to say something he couldn't put into words. We met at a friend's art exhibit 3 years ago. He spilled coffee on my dress, and instead of apologizing, he said, "Guess I just wanted to leave a mark." That stupid, charming line became the start of everything. For 3 years, we were inseparable. We built a small world together: movie nights, Sunday pancakes, matching toothbrushes. He proposed to me under the same oak tree where we first kissed. When he said, "I want to grow old with you," I believed him with every heartbeat. Our wedding was supposed to be in a week. Everything was ready: the venue, the flowers, the playlist he made for me. And then, on a Tuesday morning, he was gone. No note. No message. Just his phone on the counter and the engagement ring next to it. At first, I thought it was a joke. Evan loved surprises, small, weird ones, like hiding love notes in my books or leaving a rose on the car hood. So I laughed. I actually laughed when I saw the ring. Then the laughter cracked into panic. I called him. The call went straight to voicemail. I called his best friend, his sister, his office, nothing. He had vanished like a ghost. I barely slept for 2 days. My mom tried to comfort me, saying maybe he got cold feet. But no, this wasn't nerves. This felt deliberate. Like he had planned it. The police told me to wait 48 hours before filing a missing person report. Those 48 hours felt like 48 years. Every second was an echo of the same question: why? On the 3rd day, I found something strange in his drawer, a small, unmarked envelope. Inside it was a photo. It was me, sleeping. And on the back of that photo, in his handwriting, were just 5 words: "Forgive me for what's coming." The photo haunted me. I couldn't understand why he had taken a picture of me sleeping, or why he would write something so terrifying on the back. Forgive me for what's coming. What was coming? That night, I barely slept. Every sound in the house felt amplified: the ticking clock, the hum of the fridge, the whisper of rain on the window. I kept staring at the photo, like maybe it would speak if I looked long enough. By morning, I decided to check his laptop. Evan never liked me touching his computer, said it was for work stuff. But after he vanished, privacy felt like a dead language. The laptop was locked with a password. I tried birthdays, our anniversary, even our dog's name. Nothing worked. But then I remembered something. The first time he told me he loved me, he said, "I don't say it often, but when I do, it means forever." He had written it as "forever" in a note once. I typed "forever," and the screen unlocked. My heart pounded. His desktop was strangely empty: no photos, no personal files. Just a single folder titled June 14th. Our wedding date. Inside that folder were videos. Dozens of them. Each named with a timestamp: camera 1_12 a.m., camera 2_3 a.m., and so on. Curiosity burned stronger than fear. I clicked one. The video showed our bedroom, me, asleep. Evan was standing by the bed, staring at me. For 5 minutes straight, he just stood there, breathing slowly, not moving, not blinking. Then he stepped closer, brushed a strand of hair from my face, and whispered something to the camera. I turned the volume up, trembling. His voice came through: "I'm so sorry. She doesn't know yet." I slammed the laptop shut. My hands were shaking so badly I dropped my coffee mug. Was he filming me every night? Why? I didn't know what to believe anymore. I called his sister, Maya, again, this time demanding answers. When she picked up, her voice was shaky. "I was hoping you wouldn't find out," she said. "Find out what?" There was silence. Then she whispered, "Check the hospital records under his name." Click. She hung up. Hospital? My stomach turned cold. 2 hours later, I was sitting in a hospital archive room, pleading with a nurse for access. I used his full name, date of birth, everything. After a few minutes, she found a file. It was thin, too thin for comfort. Inside were test results and a doctor's note. Diagnosis: glioblastoma multiforme. Brain cancer. Terminal. The last report was dated 2 months ago. My world tilted. He'd been dying, and never told me. Instead, he disappeared. But that didn't explain the photos. Or the videos. Or why he wrote, "Forgive me for what's coming." I read through the medical papers again, and something strange caught my eye. Under next of kin, it didn't list me. It listed someone named Clara Wills. I had never heard that name in my life. I spent the rest of that day staring at the name written in black ink, Clara Wills. It looked ordinary enough. But there was something deliberate about the way it was written, almost careful, like Evan had made sure it would be read one day. That night, I couldn't eat. Couldn't think. I searched the name online, hoping it would be a coincidence. But the first result froze my blood. Clara Wills, Neuroscience Research Associate, St. Jude Medical Institute. A hospital less than 30 miles away. The same hospital that had treated Evan's cancer. I called the number listed. A receptionist picked up. "I'm looking for Dr. Wills," I said, trying to keep my voice calm. After a pause, she replied, "I'm sorry, Dr. Wills passed away 3 weeks ago." My heart dropped. What happened? She was involved in an accident. I can't disclose details. I hung up, trembling. Why would Evan list a woman who died 3 weeks ago as his emergency contact? And then it hit me. 3 weeks ago was exactly when Evan disappeared. The walls seemed to close in around me. Something inside me whispered that the truth wasn't about love or fear anymore, it was about something much darker. The next morning, I drove to St. Jude's. The parking lot was quiet, the sky an indifferent grey. Inside, I found the research wing Evan's records had mentioned. The door had a security panel. I wasn't supposed to go in. But desperation makes you creative. I waited until a doctor exited, then slipped inside before the door closed. The hallway smelled like antiseptic and loneliness. On the far wall hung photos of researchers, faces frozen mid-smile. I scanned them until I saw her, Dr. Clara Wills. She looked young, sharp-eyed, with that quiet confidence scientists have when they know something no one else does. Her office was still locked, but a maintenance cart nearby had a key ring dangling from it. I took one, unlocked the door, and stepped inside. The room was immaculate, not a paper out of place. But the air felt wrong. Too quiet. A framed photo on the desk caught my eye. It was of Clara and Evan. Together. He wasn't smiling the way he smiled with me. This was different, raw, almost haunted. Behind the photo lay a folder labeled Project Iris. My hand shook as I opened it. Inside were medical documents, brain scans, and handwritten notes from both Clara and Evan. One note stopped me cold. Patient shows cognitive reflection patterns post-implant. Visual relay stabilized. Subject unaware of mirroring. Implant. Relay. Subject unaware. What did that mean? I flipped through more pages, each filled with diagrams of neural links, timestamps, and recordings. Then, near the bottom, a single flash drive taped to a page with the words, "In case of failure, deliver to her." To her? To me? I pocketed the drive and left before anyone could see me. At home, I plugged it into my laptop. The folder inside was encrypted, but Evan's password still worked. A single video file appeared, session_07.mp4. I pressed play. The screen showed a lab room. Evan sat in a chair, wires attached to his head. Clara stood beside him, speaking into a recorder. Test 7. Neural bridge appears stable. Subject reports residual memory transfer. Initial visual echoes confirmed. Evan's voice sounded tired. It's strange. When I close my eyes, I see her. Every detail. Like she's inside my head. Clara replied, "That's expected. The link is holding. But we need to monitor for identity drift." Evan looked directly at the camera. "What if she finds out?" "She won't," Clara said. "Not unless the system collapses." Then the video cut to static. I sat frozen. Link? Identity drift? Were they experimenting with brain interfaces? And then, a second file started automatically. This time, it was a security cam feed. Date: the night before he disappeared. Evan was back in the lab, arguing with Clara. He shouted, "It's too dangerous. She's already showing signs, she dreams my dreams." Clara yelled back, "We crossed the line the moment you volunteered. You wanted to live through her, to give her what you were losing." He slammed his fist on the desk. "You don't understand, she'll die if the feedback completes." Static again. Then, silence. I sat in the dark for a long time. My mind tried to reject it, but the pieces fit too perfectly. Evan hadn't just been sick. He had been experimenting. On himself. On his mind. And somehow, that experiment involved me. I couldn't stop saying her name out loud. Clara Wills. Clara Wills. It felt foreign in my mouth, like a ghost someone had left behind. That night, I searched the name online. At first, nothing came up, no social media, no records. But then, buried in an old local newspaper archive, I found a headline dated 3 years ago: "Woman dies in hit and run, police still searching for driver." The photo made my blood run cold. She looked exactly like me. Same hair, same eyes, even the same tiny scar above her lip, the one I'd always thought was unique. I scrolled further, my heart hammering. The article mentioned the accident happened late at night, near Oak Ridge Avenue, just a few blocks from where Evan used to live before we met. Something inside me broke. I checked the date of the article, June 14th. Our planned wedding day. It didn't make sense. How could a woman who died years ago share my face, my name almost, my scar? Unless I wasn't who I thought I was. I tore through old photos, our first vacation, my graduation, the engagement party. In every one, I was smiling beside Evan, but the edges looked wrong. Too clean. Too perfect. I opened one in a photo editor, zoomed in. There, faintly around my outline, a blur, like someone had cut me out and pasted me in. My breath hitched. I pulled out my birth certificate, my ID, all perfectly normal. But my earliest memory? Nothing before Evan. Nothing clear. My chest tightened. Was I made? I reopened Evan's laptop, desperate now, and found one more hidden folder buried deep under System 32. It was called Project Clara. Inside, dozens of files labeled Memory Reconstruction, Voice Pattern Logs, Cognitive Iterations. The final entry was a video file named, "For Her, Final Message." I hit play. Evan appeared on screen, thinner, sicker than I remembered. His eyes were tired, his voice trembling. "If you're watching this, it means I'm gone. You weren't supposed to find this until after June 14th. I didn't leave you. I built you. Because I couldn't live with what I'd done." He swallowed hard. 3 years ago, I hit someone. A woman named Clara Wills. She was walking home in the rain. I panicked and drove away. She died before help arrived. I tried to confess, but I couldn't face prison or the guilt. So I did the only thing my cursed genius knew how to do: I rebuilt her. I turned my guilt into code and bone and breath. I made you. I couldn't move. My lungs burned. You were never supposed to remember her. You were supposed to live for her. To make her life mean something. But the tumor, it's killing me faster than I expected. I can't finish erasing the old fragments. That's why you're remembering things that aren't yours. I'm sorry. I'm sorry for everything. You deserve to exist for love, not for forgiveness. The video ended. I sat there in silence, the room spinning, my heartbeat roaring in my ears. The walls, the memories, the laughter, all of it built on someone else's death. I whispered to the empty room, "Then who am I?" And from somewhere deep inside me, a whisper answered, "Not mine, you're me." For 3 days, I didn't move. Didn't eat. Didn't cry. I just sat in the same spot, replaying his words in my mind like a broken lullaby. You weren't supposed to remember her. The line between love and illusion had dissolved. Every memory, our first kiss, the nights we watched old movies, the way he said my name, was now painted over by guilt. His guilt. I walked into the lab behind the house, the one he'd always kept locked. The door opened easily now. Inside were monitors, tools, wires, and glass tubes filled with what looked like fragments of me, hair, cells, microchips marked neural sync. A smell of sterile death hung in the air. On the main screen was one file left open. It read, "Project status, incomplete." Below it, one last line of code blinked, "IF subject achieves full self-awareness, terminate protocol." I froze. So this was the final step. Once I remembered everything, the system was meant to end me. His forgiveness wasn't just a message, it was a failsafe. My vision blurred. My hands trembled on the keyboard. I could end it now. One keystroke, and I'd disappear, just another line of code deleted. But then I saw something under the desk, a small box wrapped in red ribbon. Inside was a ring. Our ring. And a handwritten note. "If you ever find this, it means you became real. Not because I made you, but because you chose to exist beyond me. Live. Even if it's without me. That's how you forgive me." My tears finally came, not mechanical, not programmed, just mine. I looked at the screen again. The cursor blinked beside the word terminate. I hit backspace. Then I typed, "Run, life," the system froze. Then rebooted, lights flickering, hums softening. Every file that made me who I was began to merge, no longer Clara, no longer project, just me. The lab lights dimmed, and I stepped outside. The world was strangely bright, too alive for someone who'd just learned she was born from death. But maybe that's what being human really means, to carry someone's mistakes and still walk forward anyway. As the sun rose, I whispered into the wind, "Forgiven." If you believe in second chances, subscribe for more stories that remind us, sometimes, love isn't about who we were, but who we choose to become.